Connecticut is part of Rhode Island chapter now for disaster relief. So you can either go through Farmington or Waterford are the two head ones where you can get the training, and it's really no big deal, the training. A lot of it you can do online. But look it up, I would.
No, it's
love it.
It's not like I don't have any
free time.
Yeah. Now that I'm retired, although the subbing takes up a lot, it's the sort of thing you can say, okay, that's a
exactly. You're not committed to it. Yeah. I would do it. I would definitely do it.
Check it out.
Good. Let's go with this.
We just called down Red Cross. I was good.
Nice. Okay, good.
Now, Chris, do you ever do international, or is it all?
I have not done international. I'd like to. Actually, my job was going to work on doing my passport anyway, so I'm going to update the passport.
That's why I was aiming for today.
I mean, even at vocal, there's stuff like that. You can be responding to vocal. So it's not just big. Oh yeah. Always. There's no timeline of when you do it. Go out to redcross.org and start looking at the disaster relief efforts. And there's all different areas. Everything from mental health people to working in the shelters to serving the food off of those ambulance herbs, they call them, emergency response vehicles, or driving the herbs. I've done that. And there's so many different areas that you can be part of. I love it.
This takes care of your altruistic attitude or whatever.
I mean, they fly you there. Shelter depends. Like when I was in Katrina, I was actually in a hotel. When I was in Texas, I was in a state shelter. So that all depends. But then you get a debit card, and you got, depending on how long you go, $450. And you're allowed so much for food a day, if you have to rent a vehicle, or if you have to buy gas, or you use that, so you don't use your own money. I did it this time. I was surprised. Trying to think now, because I didn't go out sightseeing. I mean, you could take out, they tell you to take like $80 a day, so you have cash to buy food and stuff, or if you go out, and I'm like, I never had time to go out and enjoy, so.
You didn't sound vacation.
No. And then you get 1 day off for 2 weeks. And I volunteered with another department on my day off to go help them. So I didn't get a day.
So when you finally get home, you're
they want me to. They think it's great.
Are you only the
Well, probably that too. Yeah, probably that too.
Dad down Puerto Rico.
Yeah, get rid of them for a couple weeks. Yeah.
You got the passports and everything. Yes, I did.
If everyone could, I'd like to invite and introduce Charlotte Minnick, 6th grade, to come down and lead us in the pledge to the flag. And then following, if you could please remain standing.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Yeah, just like to take a moment to recognize and send our thoughts and prayers to the victims and families down in Vegas. Thank you. Liaisons. I don't see other boards here. Seeing Lane. Union representation. Okay, so now I'll turn it over to our Director of Curriculum, Mary, and then the principals.
Thank you. Just very excited to share that the district has been working to transition to new science standards for what's known as next generation science standards. Very focused on an inquiry-driven process for science education and developing problem-solving skills in our students. We have been part of a curriculum development consortium where we have new units of study around science that we're going to be rolling out this year in our K through 3rd grade classrooms, so all across Memorial School, as well as at grades 6 and 9. And we're also developing this year new units in grades 4, 7, and 10. So this is a big undertaking for us as a district, and I want to recognize our teachers at Memorial School as well as at the middle and high school who are really engaged in this new learning and transitioning with their students. So very excited about that.
If I could, I did forget one thing. I want to move one item on the agenda. Then we'll get to the principals, but I don't want to forget. If I could get a motion to move item 10.1, discussion of the memorial tribute for Mr. Fiddler, up to 6.2. Lois, Erica, second. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, now we'll go on to the principals. Yes, Andrew.
So we had a very exciting start to the year at Memorial. Now we're starting to settle in a little bit more business as usual. We did complete the iReady assessments and we're analyzing that data as teams to make sure we're being able to tailor our instruction to the kids. We had an exciting jogathon last week. Tried to give a shot and run with every grade level. It was a little sore the next day, but it was fun, and we're gearing up for PD this coming Friday.
At Center School, we're starting an effort to raise some funds for Puerto Rico. It was something that was brought to my attention by a student, a very eloquent written response that is actually posted on Facebook if you have a chance to check out our Facebook site. But we will take some monetary donations Wednesday and Friday and connect with Save the Children. I do have a personal connection with some networks at Save the Children. They are partnering with the Red Cross as well as UNICEF to make sure that those funds go directly towards any contributions that will rebuild schools and help efforts of children going through that struggle.
Two really exciting things. One, coming up this Thursday, we are going to be taking a group of about 50, up to 50, 6th, 7th, and 8th graders that are interested in visiting WEPCO, which is a plastic mold injection manufacturing plant. And they're doing an open house, invited us in, give us a tour, and really just allow kids to experience some career paths. And next week, Friday the 13th, conveniently, we're going to be doing a fundraiser for the Crispus Attic School in Houston, and we're doing a we call it principal punishment. We're going to be doing the duct tape challenge. So it's the duct tape the principal and the assistant principal to the wall.
How did Panther Fest go? Haven't seen you since.
There was actually a small group of girls, similar situation, approached us about doing a raffle. We did a 50-50 raffle, and they raised, I want to say it was over $300. So it was a great effort by some 6th graders.
Yeah, very nice.
Well, high school this morning, Dad, you know that, we sent off 70 some odd students to Washington at 6 a.m. Actually, the bus probably left here about 6:45, and all the luggage got packed, and you had all the teachers all volunteering with their rubber gloves on, and checking all the luggage. And it was very exciting. They're all excited to make memories of a lifetime. It's always fun. It always gives you kind of a good feeling. And we've already, Mike and I both already got pictures back from them. They arrived safely, and they are right in front of the White House. The pictures we just got. But we had a wonderful pep rally last week. I don't know if we were going to mention. I don't want to take what everybody to say, but wonderful pep rally last week after our Spirit Week. It was just, the kids were, I mean, they never cease to amaze me. They're wonderful. They're so respectful, well-behaved, and full of certain spirit. Going great.
Good. Any questions for any of the schools? Okay, thank you, thank you. Moving on, I'm going to open up for audience of citizens. Any comments, questions, remarks? Feel free, just give your name and address, and it's yours. Anybody? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on. I'll turn it over for our recognitions. Okay, yeah, but before we do that, can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Deb, second. Carol, discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, so now we'll turn it over. We're going to do the Friends of Education Award, and following, there's a reception out in the lobby, right outside the door. So
Yes,
please.
cake and punch, please stay around for cake and punch after we honor our 2017 Friends of Education. This is a great night for the board because we take just a few minutes to thank the many people that in one way or another help our schools become better places of learning for students and families. And I think you'll see when you hear the brief write-ups about each of the members of our community that we're honoring that in very different ways they support our programs, our students, our teachers, and our buildings. So we're excited to introduce you to this year's Friends of Education. Because we are live streaming this, we'll have the principals come right down front and call you down and have you come right in front, face our little camera there, and you'll be live streamed and you can go home and watch yourself on YouTube at the end of the night. When you come down too, please take a moment to introduce the board to any guests you may have brought as well. So Andy, come right down front here, and we'll start with our Memorial School Friend of Education.
I'm not sure John is here today. Didn't see him.
Okay.
But I'm glad to read about all
You can read about him, and John will have to watch himself on TV.
So I was not here last year when John was nominated, but I've already seen his efforts this school year, and I'm very appreciative. So I'm glad to read this about John. It is with pride that Memorial nominates John Arcari as a Friend of Education. John has donated his time as a volunteer in very valuable ways, as our Cheetah mascot and as our STAR assessment facilitator, and this year our iReady platform. It's hard to find a more joyful experience than when students enter a learning space occupied by our larger-than-life Cheetah mascot, Spot. Under the enormous costume, John bounces, waves, and high-fives the lines of students passing by. Some students are so overcome with joy that they throw themselves at him in a bear hug. Students eagerly anticipate Spot's future appearances at special events. Even though his own Memorial son is now in 2nd grade, John was instrumental in assisting all kindergartners access STAR Universal Screen Assessments on Chromebooks in our Makerspace lab. John was both flexible and generous with his time as the kindergarten classes scheduled in the lab for a total of 21 sessions. John supported with navigating the Chromebook functions to log in, access sites, master clicking selections with trackpads or mice, and sign out. Once students were comfortable with the devices, John was available to troubleshoot any glitches during our teacher-led administration of assessments. John Arcari's whole school contributions as our mascot and kindergarten STAR champion distinguish him as a valuable friend of education. Thank you, John.
Thanks.
Lynn, you want to come down? Yeah, with your family, see some guests.
Come right in front of the table. We'll slide
I'll
over.
give it.
Yes.
So we get to be on TV too.
That's right. That's why I'm
But I wore a tie.
Do you want to introduce your guests?
Sure. This is my son, Julian Minnick. He's a freshman. Charlotte Minnick, 6th grader at the middle school. And Scott Minnick, my husband.
And I had the honor of working with Julian last year, and his wardrobe does not disappoint. And I'd like to see that the theme continues. Lynn Middick has been a consistent and dedicated supporter of the arts at Center School. Most significantly, Lynn has volunteered her own time to the Center School play over the last 2 years. From student supervision to costuming to set design and painting, Lynn has supported the student productions. It is unusual to have a successful musical production at the intermediate level, and it is a challenging task as only one staff member oversees the production. Lynn gives her time in the evenings and during school breaks to assist the director in preparing for the production. Our students benefit tremendously from this experience. From the discipline and dedication it takes to learn lines, songs, and dance numbers, to the persistence they must show in staying with a commitment over several months, to the sense of community and collaboration they establish as part of a larger ensemble. This authentic and deep learning would not be possible without the contributions of Lynn. We at Center School feel fortunate to have benefited from her generosity, talents, and her whatever it takes attitude. And this truly makes her a friend of education. Thank you very much.
You can give the flowers.
I get the flowers.
There you go, man. Congratulations.
Lovely. Thank you. Thank you.
Do a big group picture.
That's how you get me. One more. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And Nancy Oakley, come on down.
Yeah. Have the kids in there. Yeah, bring the whole family down.
Just what they want to do, right?
Under Armour looks good on these. Please.
Hey, hello. Thanks for coming. Down over here. Do you want to introduce your guest?
Yes, this is my daughter, Jillian. She's in 5th grade. This is my son, Brendan, in 8th grade. This is my husband, Sean. And this is my father, John, who lives in town also.
Very good. Thank you all for coming tonight. The Center School community nominates Nancy Oakley as a friend of education because of her tireless dedication to our school system. Nancy is an active member of our parent community, committed herself to enhancing parent engagement and discourse around the budget process, creating a Facebook group to share information, attending Board of Education, Board of Finance, and Town Council meetings to both share her support of the East Hampton Public Schools and to gain information to share with others. And organizing a parent presence around the budget vote are all ways that Nancy has not only encouraged parent participation in our town processes, but manifested it in herself. In addition to her activism and support of our schools, Nancy is a supportive parent to the Center School community. Through the EHPPTO or other volunteer opportunities, Nancy supports both our teachers and students. She facilitated, greatly appreciated, and highly enjoyed events for our teachers during the parent conferences and Teacher Appreciation Week. Nancy gave up her own time to shop for these events, communicate with parents, and decorate so our teachers could feel special and valued at the busiest time of the year. Her thoughtfulness in these acts and her willingness to engage with the school community truly go above and beyond. Nancy's partnership with our schools and larger community truly make her a friend of education.
Squeeze.
Now, Mr. Jason Lang.
my cheerleaders? Raise your hands. Yeah, I'm gonna have them introduce themselves. These are some of my Hawks girls that wanted to come down. My high schoolers are being bashful. But they wanted to introduce yourselves.
I'm Fiona. I'm Allison. I'm Brooke. I'm Haley.
These are just some of my 83 girls this year.
Great. Well, thank you all for being here, ladies in the back as well. Holly has been serving the community of East Hampton as a volunteer and as a head cheerleading coach for East Hampton Youth Football and the Cheerleading Association, the Hawks, for the past 5 years. She also serves as the head cheerleading coach for the high school and has volunteered countless hours of her time to act as the assistant middle school cheer coach at the middle school. She has most recently began a cheer camp this summer, working with East Hampton Park and Rec, so really has gotten her hands in every part of cheerleading and has spread it all over the town. Holly is involved in all aspects of the community when it comes to youth sports and is really having a positive effect on the children of East Hampton as a role model, as to somebody they should look up to. Holly's had the distinct honor of leading 3 Hawks cheerleading squads to state finals, 2 of which won first place, 1 of which won second. So as you can imagine, that really draws a lot of attention and increases participation in the sport. Her 2016 squad also took home 2 second place and 1 first place at the, hopefully I get this right, CTYFL competition. Holly has gone above and beyond to support our schools by providing countless hours of volunteering to our youth. Holly has been instrumental in building positive momentum in our town and should be recognized for all her efforts. You truly are a friend of education.
Thank you so much.
Smile, baby. A+ smiles.
A lot of
You can cut us off.
I almost did. Okay, one more. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Benny Gates, rest of you like to bring it. Stashi's getting out of
You step right up there.
Don't be shy. In the middle. Come on. Come on. Thank you.
Sean, we love to be in the spotlight. Chief Sean Cox has been a fantastic friend of education. From his first week on the job, he has made every effort to demonstrate and to promote the importance of his connection between the community and the police department. His involvement with the schools has demonstrated his passion for safety and security. Chief Cox has been instrumental in the development and guidance throughout the process of creating and providing feedback on the All Hazards Plan. Chief Cox has expressed to his officers the importance of being a positive and visible component in each of the schools, as early as today. His advocacy for instituting a juvenile review board has helped springboard that initiative into creation. Chief Cox has always been eager to work as a team, even going so far as to inviting administration to a state first responder seminar on learning about the tragic events of Sandy Hook. His passion and tenacity for his career are readily apparent and only surpassed by his care for the community of East Hampton. Chief Cox, you're a true friend of East Hampton Public Schools. Thank you.
Thank you. I didn't get to introduce her. This is my wife, Kate, of 22 years. We do have 3 children, just recently became empty nesters. So for the first time in 22 years, we're going out to dinner on a Monday night by ourselves.
first.
And Michael was here last year to nominate these folks, so.
Our first nomination goes to Mark Vickery. Come down.
Come on, Beth, we should have learned by now.
We're not quite empty nesters. 2 in college, one's at driver's ed right now, so 1 more to go.
Many people are referred to as superfans when describing their commitment to their favorite sports teams. But no man can match the all-encompassing support, love, and sheer joy in connecting with the high school team shown by Mark Vickery. Some may claim it is his role to do so as Sports Booster President, a position he has held for the past 4 years, but his connection to our school, our athletic program, and our community is larger than life, as is he. As the Sports Boosters President, Mark is responsible for spearheading all fundraising efforts and subsequent donations made to the high school athletic program. The hard work and generosity shown by the Sports Boosters under his leadership has allowed the high school to provide top-rate training tools and equipment to our teams beyond what our own budget can supply, along with first-rate recognition ceremonies held at the conclusion of each sports season. Whenever you see him at an event, Mark is wearing his "I love to help" Sports Booster shirt, and no one embodies that motto more than he. Whether it is the Grill and Chill Snack Shack during soccer season, at our annual holiday basketball tournament, or at the Sports Boosters golf tournament in June, Mark Vickery is there, making sure that everyone is being taken care of, that everyone is happy, and if he feels you need one, then you get that one-of-a-kind Mark Vickery hug. For all he does to support our school, our athletic programs, and the pursuit of excellence in East Hampton, Mark Vickery is a true friend of education.
I'll take those.
Thank you for everything you do.
Thank you. These are so good.
Oh, okay.
Hugs are good.
Yeah, hugs are good.
It's got a flower, she's out of here.
You don't want to be in the picture? All right. Can you step in? There we go.
He's a little too close, right? I'm not really complaining.
Our next recipient is Sylvia DeMore. Sylvia DeMore served on the EHHS PTO for 19 years. The following was written about Sylvia in support of this recognition. For as long as I have known Sylvia, she has been a fierce advocate for the students and staff of East Hampton. Despite a full-time demanding job at Trinity College, a considerable commute, and raising 3 outstanding boys of her own, she always found time to volunteer. Sylvia is not a passive volunteer either. She led by example, taking charge of fundraisers, coordinating the high school mini-grant application process, and making sure the annual Teacher Appreciation Luncheon was staffed and full of treats. And I used to work in Congress, and I got to tell you, if you've ever seen one of these EHHS Teacher Appreciation Luncheons put on by the PTO, it comes really close to what the members of Congress get down in Washington. So I personally appreciate it. Sylvia will be sorely missed by PTO and is definitely a shining example of all that is good in our community of East Hampton. As she becomes an empty nester, we wish her nothing but joy as she enters some well-earned, newfound free time. Thank you.
And Sylvia, if you would introduce your guest here tonight.
My husband, Bill.
Thank you, Bill, for joining us.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. 19 years. Thanks.
We do have one other recipient who is not here this evening, but I will read the dedication at any rate. Paul Herlihy. Paul Herlihy is a tireless advocate for our students. Paul was a founder and president of Friends of East Hampton Rowing, which supports the rowing club at the high school. Paul helped guide the new group through a tumultuous first year that included the legal process to gain the 501c3 designation, the design of a fundraising program, the procurement of equipment, countless meetings with town officials and local residents, and of course, donning his dry suit and wading chest high in the icy waters of Lake Pocatapog to dismantle our program's docks. If this weren't enough, Paul is a leader in the high school's Music Boosters. He served as vice president last year and has now assumed the role of president. Through his efforts, the music department was able to procure a new baritone saxophone and help fundraising efforts that allowed the music program to purchase a new marimba, and neither of these things are cheap. Finally, Paul is a driving force in the successful establishment of the music department's ambitious new field trip to Disney World, where our students will perform and compete on a level they have not experienced before. From all of us at EHHS, we salute Paul Herlihy and thank him for his tireless support of our students.
Paul's daughter is on the Washington, D.C. trip, so Paul and his wife actually took time to go on a little vacation.
We have, two district-wide Friends of Education we'd like to recognize tonight. I'm going to first call down Donna Finkelstein. Donna, do you want to introduce your guest?
This is my daughter Amanda and my son Adam.
All right. Donna Finkelstein has been a friend to education to the East Hampton Public Schools for many years. In her role as facilitator of programming and professional development for the Middlesex Consortium, she has affected the professional lives of so many in our district. In this capacity, she organized the inter-district meetings where educators in comparable roles collaborated with each other to learn from each other's expertise and experience. This kind of shared learning across classrooms and schools is often cited as one of the most effective forms of learning by teachers. In addition to coordinating these meetings for our teachers, Donna has planned professional development activities for students, teachers, and administrators across towns in the Middlesex region. From the Mental Health Summit hosted in Region 13 last year, to professional learning for career and technical education teachers hosted in Portland, Donna's leadership and organization has expanded the opportunities for East Hampton teachers to grow their skills and classroom practices. Yet Donna's efforts have expanded beyond the traditional classroom or collaborative learning for teachers. In cooperation with the Middlesex Chamber of Commerce, Donna also organized and facilitated the Middlesex County Consortium Career Fair. This event is an anchor for our East Hampton Guidance Department, as it exposes students in their sophomore year to a wide range of employment opportunities, gives them face-to-face opportunities to ask questions and learn about careers that interest them, and even provides for mock interviews with human resource professionals with feedback. This kind of authentic experience informs our high schoolers about the world they are about to enter, and Donna has truly made that possible. Whether working with the superintendents of the Middlesex Consortium or a specialized department of teachers such as World Language or Social Studies, her willingness to hear everyone's ideas and support all initiatives has helped us to create efficiencies with our resources, as well as to make shared gains with instructional practice. Her ever-pleasant demeanor and helpful attitude has made working with her a pleasure. Donna's work with the Middlesex Consortium will be greatly missed as she's beginning her retirement, as she was a driving force for all that happened with this important organization. With her dedicated leadership, so many noteworthy accomplishments were realized as she assisted us with pooling our district resources and early effort in regionalization, and to find common goals between our districts and work together. Her supportive and accepting manner has made her a friend to everyone. It is for these reasons that Donna Finkelstein is a true friend of education.
Thank you.
Sorry when I'm out of order. Our next friend of education from a district-wide perspective is Tanya Soanes. I'd like to invite Tanya up front. So we often receive multiple nominations, and that was the case. So I'm going to read a combination of what some of your fellow parents and community members had to say, Tanya. We'd like to recommend Tanya Soanes for this year's Friends of Education Award. Tanya's tireless work has not only been pivotal in helping to pass this past year's education budget, but also in bettering our education system and our community as a whole. When she moved to East Hampton several years ago, Tanya immediately became interested in how our local town government works. She attended meetings and asked questions. She wasn't always satisfied with the answers, but instead of taking the easy road and simply getting frustrated, Tanya chose to become involved and soon became a member of the East Hampton Board of Education. Serving as a member of the Board of Education is a notable accomplishment in and of itself. This working mom, like other members of the board, attends regular meetings and helps to make decisions and formulate policies that have moved the East Hampton school system in a positive direction. But Tanya doesn't just attend Board of Ed meetings, she also attends Board of Finance meetings as well as Town Council meetings, and then works to accurately disseminate the information she gathers to her fellow East Hampton citizens. Through emails, word of mouth, and a well-established social media presence, Tanya has spent countless hours providing information, dispelling rumors, and encouraging other citizens to become involved. Her leadership, wisdom, honesty, approachability, and kindness were central not only to the grassroots effort that helped pass this year's extremely difficult budget at the first referendum, it should be noted, but also to inspiring countless East Hampton citizens to take an active role of their own. As a Board of Education member, Tanya has also fulfilled other roles in our school community. Community activist, parent volunteer at Center School and now East Hampton Middle School, professional photographer. Tanya has made a tremendous impact in all of these ways on the East Hampton schools. Her hard work and dedication has helped to make our school system a better place for our teachers, our children, and our community as a whole. As another nomination stated, she balances heart with common sense without taking her eye off of the goal. This is why Tanya Soanes is a true friend to education.
Sorry, why don't we, yes, 5 minutes. We'll do our next item agenda and then we'll recess for reception. Does that work? Okay.
Yep.
I don't want to, it's like the best part of all our meetings, being able to do this.
Yes.
So I just want to continue. So we moved items 10.1 up to 6.2 now. The discussion of the memorial tribute to John Findler. We've been talking about it the last couple meetings. We've heard from the family, the input, many residents. And I think what I'd like to do now is actually be able to vote and move this item forward so we can take it to the town, take it to the next level, and see it through. So the idea, proposal, I'm just saying there was nothing written for it, was to have the entrance from Maple Street up around the school to the exit be named John Findler Way. While maintaining 15 North Maple Street, that John Findler Way would be added to the address. It would be a permanent part of the school. So, any discussion, comments, thoughts?
Just for board members that were not here last time, we'll have signs made at the entrance of and the exit, because sometimes that's used as an entrance, but in both ways we'll have a sign saying the John Findler Way. Class of 2015 has also donated funds for a bronze plaque at the entrance of the school that would explain, have a picture of John and explain the John Findler Way as well. I think there was a charm to the double meaning of John Findler Way.
Yeah, there's a couple meanings there.
What was the impact on the family?
The input from the family was they requested it be named John February. That was their first choice.
I think they were, and I don't want to speak for them, but just kind of overwhelmed and very humbled by the efforts of some to name the whole school, or the fields, the gymnasium, such large things. I think that they were very overwhelmed by that, and we're happy to go with the road.
Do we have a backup plan just in case the town doesn't agree with it?
No, because this will happen.
Are you going to stick me on?
If I have to, yes, I will stick you on America. Yes.
Okay.
I don't see how it could not happen. Anyone else?
Messenger, you said a scholarship?
That has been established.
Yeah, the scholarship has been going strong. In fact, if Caitlin were here, she probably could give us a total of the scholarship.
Is it all right? Wow.
That's good.
Yeah. And Caitlin's in Washington. Oh, good luck. Okay, so with your permission, we'll take a vote. I'd like to go ahead, and the Board of Ed recommends that we change the name of the driveway to John Fiddler Way. Do we have a motion? I made the motion, so a second. Erica? Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Thank you. Okay. Now we will take a 10-minute recess and have some cake and drinks outside, thanking our friends of education.
What's nice with the PowerPoint slides
It's in a tough place, but it's in a different place that's allowed. I guess we started in the right place. Yeah, what's the idea? Well, then why clear an invite? But I don't understand. Why not just let somebody else have it? But I mean, you're right. Look at well, it may. If they, isn't there a whole thing about the street going commercial or? But it's zoning. Oh, it's not. Okay.
Oh, you brought it to her. Okay.
Great, well, thank you. So is this like a continuation of the middle school's Good Morning EHPS? Oh, good.
There's a lot of kids that are trained in the middle school.
Yeah,
so we have a
yeah.
bigger audience of kids that are going to be really willing and able.
And that came with the renovation?
Yes.
Where's the broadcasting room?
Still like PJ Center.
Okay.
I'm sorry, girl.
I don't know where it was.
So for sports, we have a lot going on. Boys soccer had a tie on the 22nd against North Branford, and then they lost to Portland on the 25th. They lost again to Valley Regional on the 27th, and then they redeemed themselves and won against Portland on the 29th, and yesterday they went to Cromwell and unfortunately lost. Girls soccer on the 20th went to Old Mine and we lost. On the 21st we played Innovation, which is not in our conference, but we won. On the 23rd we lost against North Bradford. On the 26th we won against Portland. On the 28th we went to Valley and won with 11 seconds left in the game. And yesterday we went to Cromwell and tied. Volleyball, on the 22nd, we went to Morgan, but lost. Actually, we lost everything since the last meeting. So, on the 25th, we went to Cromwell. On the 27th, we played Haddon-Killingworth. And on the 29th, we played North Brantford. Cross country has had 3 invitationals, and the most recent one, the Belringer Invitational, which was very successful, big turnout. In football, the 22nd, they played Quinnebog Valley and lost, and then on the 30th, they played Platte Tech and lost to them too. So that's it. That's all I got for sports.
That's all you got.
Yeah.
Questions for them? Anything? All right, thank you. I have nothing for personnel, policy and curriculum. I know you guys met tonight.
We did.
Any heads up on these 6 policies before us for our first read?
Yeah,
Carol's going to go through them with a smile. Look at her, okay.
That's all good.
All you. You want to comment on any of them, or?
Oh, do you want to jump down to that now?
No, it's later.
Later on.
Okay, I was going to do it now, but all right, we'll wait.
Just go with that.
Okay. Finance, transportation, Joanne's not here, but I know it hasn't met. Nothing really happening right there, correct?
Correct.
Nothing there. Learn, busy. They sent out a little letter here saying that I'm the representative for East Hampton, which I'm glad to see that officially.
Yes.
But yeah, with all our meeting dates for the year and everything, and all the towns. So it was nice. Okay. Well, we're still going on with our teacher contract negotiations, and also the building committee is happening as well. So we're busy. High school building committee.
I went to the meeting on September 21st, and I'll give you a quick report under unfinished business.
So we'll move into superintendent's report.
Today, I sent out a survey to staff members and to families. One of the policies that you will discuss tonight has to do with the regional calendar. Instead of a required regional calendar, it is now an optional regional calendar.
Calendar, you know.
But we're not going to change vacations. We want vacations to line up, especially for sports teams and things like that. However, one of the things that we will look at, because Labor Day is early next year, the survey really is just a 1-question survey for staff. It's a 1 survey question for families, whether you want to start school before Labor Day or after Labor Day. There's not a huge difference in that. What we would do is teachers would come before Labor Day to have a professional development. First day of school would be the Tuesday after Labor Day, or we would keep the calendar as it was this year, starting on that Wednesday or Thursday before Labor Day. So I'm encouraging anybody who wants to fill out the survey until October 13th, and then we'll report back to you on October 16th and start looking at a calendar to put together.
I replied.
Pardon? Your next meeting is on the 16th of October.
I thought that was changed. Never mind. I thought that was changed.
No, there's no policy, but there is.
There we go.
There you go.
There is a meeting, yes.
They all just blend. Okay.
The other item is a timeline for the 2018-19 budget. I did put one in your packet. For any family that's interested, I have a timeline for the budget, even though there is no state budget. In order for us to be prepared to present the 2018-19 budget for the school to the town, working backwards, we start this month. So in all the schools, I emailed out budget documents They have to be turned into the principals by November 1. Principals turn it into me before Thanksgiving. That way I can present a budget to the board in January, and that can be approved by the 1st of March for the town. So even though the state has given us no indication at this point, we've got to start working on our budget. Not knowing what potential cuts may be, I have asked people at this point, just identify what you feel our needs are. Our goal is still to produce a high-performing district, and so I want to hear program directions and program needs, and then we'll worry about how we're going to fund things later. But at this point, we're kind of in the just identify what our needs are to move ahead. So there are timelines here. Anybody's welcome to take a timeline on your way out. But the important date is right over my head. On Monday, November 6th, at the board meeting, we'll invite members of the public and staff members to come, and anybody who would like to present to you what they feel are important considerations for next year's budget are welcome to do so. Just to let the board know, I received a memo from the town manager. The town manager has identified potential cuts and potential revenue sources should the town lose funding from the state budget at this point. The town council is asking the Board of Ed if you would like to contribute to those funds with Board of Education dollars should our funding be cut. What I explained to the town manager was I would bring that before you, but I felt it was not wise to discuss potential cuts, not knowing what the extent of those cuts are coming from the state.
And I would agree with that. Yes. Do we have any idea of time when they will have an answer in terms of what's being cut? From the state?
There's the possibility tomorrow that there will be an override vote, but it's just a potential get-together of the General Assembly and perhaps override the governor's veto. Any budget at this point would be better than living in limbo. It's making it difficult for us to plan, and for, right now with the governor's executive order cuts in place, what was supposed to be millions of dollars coming to this town is about $300,000 at this point for the first round of ECS. So it's we're not necessarily in a good place at this point.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. And then in terms of our budget, the items from last year, those yellow and red categories.
Those will all be reconsidered.
Thank you.
Going forward, and I'm encouraging people to come and present on the 6th on some of the things you'd like in the budget. We have all sorts of things hanging out there. We have elementary world language that we talk about. We know as a district we want to move ahead in new graduation requirements as required by the state for the high school. We know we want to put more science, technology, engineering, and math at all grade levels, especially now that we have the Chromebooks. We're looking to substitute or add on for certain students, add additional computer science courses at the high school especially, even possibly substituting some math or other requirements as we do our new graduation requirements. So I think there's exciting possibilities for us as we use the full extent of this building and the full extent of Chromebook 6 through 12. We're close to being one-to-one technology, almost K through 5 on carts. And that just opens up all sorts of possibilities for us. So I think it's, if we put the state off to the side, it's a very exciting time in East Hampton, but we live under the cloud of Connecticut at this point.
I didn't see within the packet student enrollment. Can we have an update with the student enrollment throughout the grades?
Yeah, October 1 is our official enrollment, and Rosemary will have that. I think we typically do that.
I just got the numbers from the schools today.
Yeah.
You moved the board meeting up to the first Monday of the month.
Yeah.
And that doesn't give me enough time to get the information.
That's right.
So you'll have that at the second meeting each month. We'll have the enrollment figures. But yes, October 1 is the official enrollment for the year. So we'll have a nice report for you, and you can compare it to how we stood as of October 1 last year as well.
I'm sure we're up. Presentations?
No presentation this evening.
None. Okay, moving on. 10.2, the limited update.
Yes, I went to the building committee meeting on September 21st, and the building committee has agreed to put safety laminate on all windows of the high school. So that will, once the money is unfrozen from the town, all 4 buildings will have safety laminate on glass up to 9 feet high.
When's that?
I think what they're waiting to hear.
When's that time, yeah?
The town's not being difficult. I think they're just reacting to the state at this point.
Okay, so now we're going to turn it over to Carol, who is ready to go. First one, policy.
Okay, so the first policy, 4131, is just updating our professional learning to have updated language and to better reflect what we are currently doing.
Keep going. Sure.
All right.
Yep.
The second one, instruction 611A, is again just talking about school calendar. Instead of it shall be, it's a maybe. So Paul already addressed that. So that's just changing it to be we can do more flexibility of our own thinking.
And it's funny to see how, just to point out, June of 16 was when we revised it to be the shall be.
Now it's the
and now it's
state.
That's the state changing their mind.
Yeah. So then the next few are some new policies. So 7551 is the naming facilities. It's just giving us a actual policy to state that we can name the building or parts of the building for circumstances like we're facing now. So it's just a generic giving ourselves the ability to do so and some guidelines of when and why we would do such a thing. 9240 is policy about board member professional development, just stating in writing that we provide the opportunities for board members to have professional development, that we encourage them to have professional development, and we will offer that to them so that new board members or all board members know that that is something that we feel strongly is important for all board members to have. And then 9325.43 is just talking about, again, we didn't have it in writing, but talking about if you wanted to attend a board meeting with electronic communications, the guidelines for that and the circumstances that it would need to be in writing beforehand. It's, if you look down, the one important paragraph is a board member shall be able to attend a board meeting and participate in board deliberations and voting through electronic communications, but only under extraordinary circumstances. The reason that such attendance is not reasonably practiced shall be stated in the minutes of the meeting. So you can't just do it without it being a plan type thing. And then the self-evaluation 9400, we do this, but we didn't have it in writing. So again, this is a new policy. It's stating the exact survey that we do to show our self-evaluation, but it's kind of having it stated in writing. It makes sure that we actually follow through and do it. But we
Not everybody handed them in last year.
And that's it.
I know. Don't rub it in.
Right? That was it.
Questions for Carol or Jeff on that? So there's the first read, so those will be on the agenda for next meeting.
Now, last year, for first read, we did not give you the copies again for second read. Are you okay with holding them on again? So each month we'll give you first reads and second reads you approve, but we won't put them in the packet just to save paper.
Perfect.
Unless there's significant changes.
Oh, right, unless there's changes from this meeting. Yes.
I also have some news. I believe that the case Ship versus O'Neill is going to go into our favor. Little birdie told me. So keep your fingers crossed.
Okay.
11.7. We have an authorization we need to do.
Yes.
Will we read that? Or is that part of the consent?
No, you have to just sign the form, but you probably should approve it as a board.
Yeah, so, all right. So I'll make this motion, or I'll read this and we'll vote on it. In accordance with requirements for formal agreement between East Hampton Board of Education and the Connecticut State Department of Education to operate U.S. Department of Agricultural Child Nutrition programs, Superintendent Paul K. Smith is authorized to sign agreements and claims for reimbursement. In his absence, School Business Manager Karen Aceta is authorized to sign claims for reimbursement. Do I have a motion stating that? Deb, second?
Second.
Erica, discussion. And this is done yearly, in my understanding, correct?
Yes.
Normal procedure we do. All those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Okay, thank you. We'll sign that. Future business.
In the next meeting or shortly thereafter, Mary and the principals give you an update on SBAC testing,
Yep.
AP scores, SAT scores, etc.
Good, okay. Personnel. Then we'll open it up. Final audience of citizens. Anyone? Comments, questions? No? Okay, hearing none. Calendar events. We have a calendar in the agenda. Things coming up. Anything else, anybody?
We're going to meet the candidates on October 23rd.
Can't wait. All right. With all that, motion to adjourn. Erica, Deb. Have a good night, everyone.
Good night.
All right.